Hey guys, Dan here. I'm going to talk about a couple things today. We're going to talk about establishing trust and how to do floor pulls. Floor pulls are super simple. It's going to take me less than a minute to teach you how to do it because it's very simple. There's nothing to it. Let's talk about establishing trust. To me, there's 2 or 3 different ways we establish trust. Number one, ask good questions. That's the number one way we establish trust is by asking good, pertinent, relevant questions to that person, either about their health, what could be better, their workout history, do they take supplements, do they eat breakfast, how's their sleep, how's their stress levels, is there any history of cardiovascular disease or diabetes in their family, getting a background, right? So number one tip to establish trust, ask good questions. Mrs. Jones, what could be better in your life regarding your health? Right, it's a good question. Mrs. Jones, tell me a little bit about life outside of the gym. Are you under a lot of stress? Do you do any types of sports? Maybe they play in a tennis club. Maybe they dance. Maybe they ballroom dance a couple times a week. So find out who is this person and what are they doing. Right? Find out everything you can. Keep the questions appropriate, but ask questions about their health, about physical activities. What could be better, right? You can never go wrong with asking somebody, Mrs. Jones, paint me a picture. Paint me a picture of how you could feel better and look better. Okay, how could we feel better? How could we improve the quality of your life? Maybe your self-confidence, your self-esteem. Could that be better? Guys, I learned this a long time ago, maybe 15, 20 years ago. Yes, there's clients that want to just quote-unquote look hot, and that's fine. That's great. Everybody should look their best, no doubt about it. But under that, you do it for your self-esteem. You do it for your confidence. It's that feeling when you walk into a room and you think you look your best and you're in good shape and you have that confidence. Deep down, no matter what anybody tells you, underneath the shell of just being the hot person, people want to feel good about themselves. They want to have that self-confidence. They want to have that self-esteem. Okay, it's the same that goes with strength training. Nobody cares if you can bench 350 pounds. It matters to the person that can do it because it gives you a confidence. It gives you that self-esteem, like, wow, I accomplished something that's hard to do. Okay, so ask them good questions, health-related, again, nutritionally, sleep, stress levels, activities outside the gym. Hey, what kind of workouts have you been doing until you met me? What have you been doing? Do you do free weights? Do you do mostly cardio? Do you do machines? Do you do Pilates? Do you do Zumba? Do you take the classes? I'm going to talk about the classes in a minute. Okay, so number one tip would be ask good questions. That establishes trust. Okay, because good questions show that you're interested, show that you care, and when people know that you're interested in them and that you genuinely care, you will start to establish trust. Okay, so that would be kind of the number one thing. Number 2, tell good stories that relate to the person, or that, better said, that the person can relate to. Let's say you have a 40-year-old female client or a female prospect to buy training, and she's 40 years old, 40% body fat, and wants to be 20% and cut that in half. Okay, let's say you've had a client in a similar starting point. Tell them that. And say, hey, Jennifer, you know what? I just want to let you know. I've worked with somebody 6 months ago that had a similar starting point as you. Okay, similar body fat, similar goals. And, here's what they did. They decided to work with us a couple of times a week. And their first month, they lost 10 pounds of body fat. Their second month, they lost 7 pounds of body fat. And they never looked back. And here's where they were after 6 or 8 months. They look like a whole new person. And that's what I want for you. They did it, you can do it. Okay, we relate to stories. I relate to stories. I remember reading a couple of years ago about a guy my age squatting 500 for sets of 5 across. And I said, why not me? I related to that story. I related to his success. I said, I'm going to do it. So, number 1, ask good questions. Okay, good, relevant questions. Number 2, have a good story that the person can relate to. So somebody of similar age, of a similar starting point, okay, and you will really start to establish trust. Guys, on the stories, if you don't have one, don't make one up. Don't lie. Just don't go down that road, right? You can borrow a story. I have a gazillion of them. You can borrow one from me and say, hey, there's a fellow trainer I work with, and here's a story I want to tell you about a person that had a success. That's totally fine, as long as you just keep it real, as they say. I'm sure you've got success stories in the gym all over the place, right? Even people that have only trained a month and a half, I'm sure there's some people that are losing body fat. They're already toning up, hardening up. They look better. They're more confident. So tell those stories. Okay, that's a really good way to establish trust. A potential third way, and you want to pepper this in lightly, is to be the person that's throwing all the facts and the statistics around. That establishes some credibility and some trust, but be careful with it because it can be overdone. So what I mean is, there's always the trainer that has all those stats and figures about obesity and about lack of physical activity in Americans and this and that, and all that stuff's good, and we should know that stuff, and it's okay to sprinkle it in. If you're going to use one of those, remember, you're establishing trust and credibility, right? So you do want to be able to convey the idea that you know what's going on out there in the landscape of the average American, that there are so many people that are overweight and sedentary. So don't misunderstand me. It's totally great if you want to quote something about a statistic that might motivate one of your clients to say, wow, I don't want to be in that pool of people. I want to be better than all these people that are obese or sedentary, right? Just don't go overboard with it. Don't be the bookish trainer, that's walking around with a clipboard that doesn't get anybody excited and doesn't really have any sizzle. Like, just don't turn into that person if you can. But let me get back to one really powerful kind of stat, if you will, is one that I've used for years. Is that if you don't weight train, every decade after age 30, you can lose 5 to 10% of your muscle mass. Right? That's a pretty powerful idea. Every decade, if you don't weight train, you potentially, it won't happen to everybody, but typically, just if you take the ballpark numbers, we lose 5 to 10% of our muscle mass. So from 30 to 40, you're down 5 to 10% of your muscle mass. You know what that means? Your posture's not as good. Your metabolism's not as good. You don't look as good. You're not as strong. You have more accidents. You don't heal from things as quickly. Like, everything clicks down when you lose muscle. Never, ever, ever lose muscle. Okay, that is rule number one. Never lose muscle. Nature is going to try to take muscle away from us as we age. At some point in life, we lose muscle no matter what we do. It doesn't matter what workout we do, what drugs we take. It's just a fact of life. But you can postpone that deeper into, I'm talking like into people's 80s, late 70s and 80s. Okay? But what can we prevent? We can prevent, or at least take a mighty swing at the idea that people lose muscle from decade to decade. You can be the trainer that steps in and says, Mrs. Jones, I'm going to stop this cycle for you. You're not going to be the person that goes from 30 to 40 and loses 5 to 10% of their muscle mass. We're going to nutritionally and through weight training, through strength training, make sure that you either replace the muscle you've lost or start to build that lean tissue that does all these wonderful things. Okay, so getting back to it, if you want to throw some stats around or some of those things that kind of seem like stats that somebody can relate to, that's one you might want to do. Mrs. Jones, what we do here is we teach our people how to weight train, our clients how to weight train. It's so important. You know why? One reason is as we age, we lose muscle, and we don't want to lose muscle ever. Muscle is a really good friend of ours. It burns calories. It gives us good posture. It keeps us strong, or it enables us to be strong. We always want to do everything we can to preserve and increase our muscle mass. Okay, so there's maybe one good example. Okay, so there you have it, guys. There's a couple of things that you can do. Let's just do a quick recap. You can use a stat, okay, like the one we just talked about. Don't go overboard. Tell good stories. that relate to the people. Make sure they're true. Don't go overboard and make up something crazy. Keep it true. And the first one was to ask good questions. Right? If somebody's asking you really good questions, relevant questions, professionally phrased questions, I feel like I'm going to be in the hands of a professional. And if I feel like I'm in the hands of a professional, guess what? We get trust built right there. Okay, so I hope that's helpful for you guys. So there we go on establishing trust. I was also asked to help you guys with floor pulls. Floor pulls is really easy. Sometimes we make too much of this. So for some of you guys who have heard me on the conference calls, you know what I teach you guys. You got to cut some of this stuff off. A lot of us are over talking it and going too far and too deep, and the client's head is spinning. They're just like, look, no, I'm good. Just leave me alone. Here's all you do. Buzz through your gym and say hi to a bunch of people. Just say hello. You don't have to say anything else. Ask them how their morning is if you want. But just say hello. How you doing? Hey, how are you? Good to see you. How's your day today? Good? Good. Go over to this. Go walk over here. Go over to the water fountain. Hey, how you doing today? Good to see you. Everything good? Good. Walk back to the back of the gym. You see somebody. Hey, good morning. How are you? Good. You ladies doing good today? Great. Nice to see you. You've just said hi to 4 or 5 people. Okay? If somebody doesn't want to talk to you, they're going to let you know. Don't worry about it. Don't harass them. Don't bug anybody. But out of those people that you just said hello to, there's going to be some people that were extremely friendly back and said, hi, how are you? They smiled. Maybe just go introduce yourself. Hey, I'm Dan. I don't want to interrupt your workout, but I just wanted to say I'm Dan, and I'm one of the lead trainers here. I just wanted to introduce myself. Please, I want you to know my name. If you ever need a spot, or you ever want to do a nutrition review, or if you ever would like to freshen up your workout, I'm here. Okay? Guys, right at that very moment, you'll probably have somebody ask you a question, or they may just go on their way and be like, hey, Dan, nice to meet you, and they keep going. At that point, guys, I would normally just ask somebody and say, hey, do you have a few minutes? Let me show you something new. So let's say somebody's working, they're doing a leg press, or they're doing a leg curl, or a leg extension, whatever, right? They're doing some leg exercise. I might just say, hey, I see you're doing legs. I've got a few minutes before my next client. Could I show you something new? Or could I give you a tip? Or, hey, I've got a leg workout that my clients absolutely love. Can I take you through it real quick? Follow me. Maybe someone's doing shoulders. Maybe someone's doing chest. Maybe it doesn't matter what they're doing, right? As a professional trainer, we can probably show them, a better way. Maybe we can help them with their form a little bit. But the idea is to not make a big production out of it, right? Just meet them. Hey, how are you? I've got a few minutes before my next client. Let me take you through a workout. Let me give you a taste of what we do. You guys, you'll have people all day long that'll work out with you. They'll love it. And it's just 5 or 10 minutes. It doesn't have to be this big, this big Broadway show. The worst thing that we can do is to approach somebody deadpan, like just cold, and say, excuse me, Mrs. Jones, my name is Dan, and with your membership includes 2 free personal training sessions with a certified personal trainer. They are 60 minutes in length. Do you want to do one? You know why that doesn't work. Because you're putting the company between 2 people, right? Here's the person, here's you, here's the client. You want to work out with the client, right? But you're putting this big barrier, right? Certification, certified trainer, 60-minute orientation. Guys, those things are okay. But it makes it really hard to just meet people in a natural sense, right? That's just not how human beings interact, right? How do human beings really interact when they just meet each other? It's, hey, how are you? Hey, nice to meet you. How's your day today? Everybody behaving around here? Good. Hey, you know what? I've got a few minutes before my next client. Let me show you a new workout. Let me show you a new leg exercise. Follow me for a second. You're going to love this. Okay? Versus, you get your free 60-minute consultation with a certified personal trainer. It's included in your membership, blah, 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 right? You just put them to sleep. People get turned off. They don't, there's a place for that, right? Let me make sure I'm clear here. There's been many, many times, please don't misunderstand, there's been many times that I have met a brand new member, and I certainly do say, Mrs. Jones, included in your membership is 2 sessions with me. and I can't wait to work with you, so let me get those booked, right? But I don't want to give them the company line. I don't want to make it sterile and super corporate. You know, you guys understand where I'm coming from. So guys, it's just people meeting people, right? The people in this business that are the best salespeople are the people that are just good with people. You know, that doesn't mean they're super chatty. It doesn't mean that they overtalk. Doesn't, you know, the fast talking salesman, those days are sort of over. The people, if you're just genuinely good with people, if you're just comfortable saying hello to people, introducing yourself, and offering and just saying, hey, work out with me for a few minutes. You know, if you take anything from this video today on floor polls, bump into the next 10, 15 people in your gym and just say, hey, work out with me for a few minutes. Would you work out with me for a few minutes? Can I see if I'm worth my salt as a trainer? Let me show you something new. Guys, you'll have people all day long working with you, right? And then what do we do after we establish and kind of build that bond during the workout? We do a soft suggest. Mrs. Jones, you'd be a great client. You should look into training with us. I did that every time. I still do it every time. You see me on an orientation, I'm going to take that person through a workout, and when they get that little bead of sweat on their forehead and they get that smile like, wow, you know, really huffing and puffing, like, wow, this is a really good workout, I'm going to say, Mrs. Jones, you ought to let us train you. You should let us train you. You'd be a great client. I'm going to have trainers fighting over you. You should let us train you. And they always say, well, how much is it? Oh, it must be expensive. And then what do I say? I say, Mrs. Jones, let's finish the workout. I will cover the programs and how they work, but I'll make you one promise. I'll make it affordable for you. So let's get this next set done. Give me another set of 10. Right? You get the idea? So that soft suggest. So when you're in the workout with the person, and you're starting to feel like you did your job, and that bond is coming, that trust is coming, right? We just talked about trust a minute ago. They're trusting you. They know they're in good hands. You're giving them a great workout, and they're feeling it. Between sets, okay, after they've put the weight down or you've taken the weight, say, Mrs. Jones, high five. I'm so proud of you. Great set. You know what, Mrs. Jones? You ought to let us train you. You should work with one of us. We do. I have trainers that would be fighting over you. You'd do great on one of our programs. And they almost always say one of two things. Number one, how much is it? And guys, isn't it just music to your ears when somebody asks you how much your training program is, right? Or number two is they're actually going to sort of try to trick you with a negative, but it's not a negative at all. They're going to say something like, well, it's probably too expensive. Oh, no, you know, when I win Powerball, I'll come train with you. You say, Mrs. Jones, when we get done, I'll show you how it works. I promise you. You have my word, I will make it affordable. We have programs that are almost $1 a day. So trust me, I will find a program for you. Okay, so guys, I hope that helps. So on floor polls, you know, less is more, right? Don't give them the long company line. Don't talk to them for 20 minutes. Get the rapport built between sets when you're working them out. Okay, I mean, there's nothing wrong with building rapport in the front, but remember, the goal is to just give them a taste of a workout with you, so that they go, wow, what a difference, right? Here's my workout, here's your workout, right? Big difference. Give them that taste. Okay, so my tip is say hi and say, Mrs. Jones, work out with me for a few minutes. Let me show you something new. Let me show you a new exercise. I've got a leg workout my clients just love. Let me show it to you. Okay? When you're working them out, soft suggestion. Mrs. Jones, you ought to let us train you. You should work with one of us. Or Mrs. Jones, I've got 4 trainers here. They are all unbelievable. You should work with one of them. You should look into it. They're going to say, how much is it? Or, oh, I would, but it's probably expensive. And you're going to say, Mrs. Jones, when we finish this workout, I promise you, I will find you something that fits. I will find you an affordable program. We have programs that start at roughly $1 a day. So if it's affordability, I promise I'll get you there. But we would love to work with you. You would do great. Okay, so that's my tip. I hope that helps, guys. I'm proud of you guys out there. Really proud. You guys are taking this stuff, and I see the improvement. I believe in you guys. You guys know who I'm talking about. This video is for a lot of people, but you 3 or 4 out there, you know who I'm talking to. I really appreciate you guys taking this stuff and using it, and I'm starting to see the success. I think you guys are starting to feel that this stuff works. I'm happy to do plenty more of these videos if they help. I hope they do. I feel like they do, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Give me some feedback on if this has been helpful for you. Okay? Thanks, guys. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.